Hello, everyone. Today is the release of Halo Infinite. Man, I'm just waiting to finish it up. I know I've been downloading, but internet. Well, welcome. You know, many of us that play, uh, you know, not only Call of Duty but other games, and when we see streamers play them, we actually want them to play with us and have a better, experience overall with them. The thing is that we tend to do some stuffs that actually harm the not only the gameplay that you're doing with the streamer, but also the environment and everything. So this is how to put it. I'm not sure how short or long of a stream is going to be. More sort of long and not short. Um, but here's some tips in order for you to give you to actually be better when you're playing with streamers, because sometimes we tend to do stuff that even though it's correct, but we overdo it or we don't do it. So first of all, you know when you're invited by a streamer into your when a streamer actually invites people, even if they have, let's put the example with Jeff, that I have obviously in a certain way most experience, is that they have their own squads, their group squads and everything, and they have, oh, I'm going to invite people from the squad, or they have their invitations open, so their lobby can be accessed by anyone. Number one rule: when they have an open lobby or they're sending out invites, before you enter, check on if he has the max number that he allows, because sometimes it's like, oh, we're gonna play quads, and then there's a fifth person accessing. It's like, oh, I got the invite. It's like, oh, I'm sorry, I'll excuse myself, instead of just remaining there on silent. Oh, that ties more so on the next one, but first one is like that. You gotta check on the stream if they already have the numbers besides you. And if you come at the same time that another person is like, oh, well, um, then let the streamer decide who goes. Don't go. Don't just pull out. Um, no homo. Um, no homo. The wrong word. Um, but yeah, don't pull out of the lobby. If you came out at the same time as the fourth person and you're the fifth one, it's like, let the streamer decide. Don't argue. It's like, oh, sorry, I got the. It's like, oh, well, one of you have to leave, or he peek. If you say, oh, I'll leave and I'll come back, it's like, no worries. Or if just talk, communicate, but communicate clearly, and don't be interrupting people. That ties into the second one. Second tip: communication is key, but you have to know what to communicate. What do I mean by that? Is that when you are going, the only one that actually gives orders is the streamer, because he's the one that is, the party leader and everything. You can make suggestions. You don't pinpoint on the map. You just make suggestions like, hey, we can jump here, we can jump here. And the last call decision is made by the streamer. Oh, okay, we're jumping here. Or I like your suggestion. And he might say, oh, well, I like your suggestion. Let's jump here. But everyone has to jump with the streamer. You cannot play lone wolf when you're playing streamers, because not the first time, the first thing uh, a streamer does when he sees a lone wolf is like, you're on your own, buddy, and if the game is over, he's gonna kick you out or he's gonna call you out, and if you do it again, he's gonna back off and kick you out, and you're like, I'm sorry, man, I cannot play with lone wolves. You know, tying into the communication. You have to speak. It's like, don't remain silent. If you remain silent on the lobby, then it's like almost an automatic kick out of the group. So what do I mean is like, oh, let's say you're grabbing loot, and all of a sudden there's like another enemy team, and instead of communicating, hey, there's an enemy team on our left, on our right, you start shooting the enemy team without communicating. And he's like, who are you shooting at, or what's going on? And you don't say nothing, or just say, oh, there's an enemy team over there, but they caught me because I engaged them too soon. Don't do that. Also, when you are engaging and you don't when they're asking you, hey, where he is and everything, and you don't even actually leave a pin, you're like silent. It's like, oh, I got killed. It's like, where? It's like, oh, I didn't ping him. I don't know. And they have to pull up the map in order for them to actually see where your skull is, in order for them to actually engage targets. That's not acceptable. On the other hand, is that there's rules, that like, this is given a tip mostly to streamers, but streamer has to put, it's like, before entering the lobby and the gameplay, or it's loading, streamer has to say, hey, i'm I'm the party leader, because that's another thing in communication, is that we tend to communicate when we're dead, like what to do and everything. But the streamer is the streamer, and he tends to communicate. He's like, hey, um, I'm gonna be the one communicating when everyone's dead and there's just one life. Don't tell him anything unless he's asking for help, because too many voices with one person that is still alive and the rest of the team is dead. It just makes the life one have very poor decisions. So one has to be the voice. Also, one is the team leader, and he directs where the team has to go. You don't direct, like, you can make suggestions towards the streamers, like, hey, we should go here, we should go there. Not only when parachuting, but throughout the gameplay in battle royale, or with co-op modes, in games, because they're inviting you towards their game, and even though you're there, as you might see it as a privilege, but it's more so as, hey, I'm letting you play. Just, if I tell you go here, go there, this are the communication rules, please. It's like, and like, okay, because it's not more so like you're playing with a friend, it's more so like you're playing with, you can say it's like a celebrity, but they have a business to run, in a certain way, and they're streaming with with fans or with casuals. It's a way to actually, uh, let you be part of the business, and you have to be part of their business, because it's important for, not in an egotistical way, but it's more so important of their brand, because if they invite people that don't communicate, that they're lone wolves, that they're tending to be assholes in gameplay, and they're not helping, then what are you going to do? Is going to annoy them to a degree that they don't want to play with fans. They want to play with their mods. They want to play with other streamers, and sometimes they don't want that, because then it'll make them look like assholes, not streaming with their fans. Inviting them over to play. So you got to be in that regard, respectful. Communicating enough. It's like, target here, target there. Hey, I suggest we do this, we do that. Um, Last call is always a streamer's call. You don't take last calls. If you see an enemy, hey, enemy in this location, and if there's a ping system, ping them, in order for you to actually, um, help them. Another thing is that recognize what level you are in the game. This applies to everyone because you can be a higher level than the streamer or a lower level than the streamer, or you're very casual that you get killed in the first circle of Warzone. So it's like you enter to the lobby and you're saying, "Hey Jeff," let's put an example. Jeff is like, "Hey Jeff," it's like, "I'm glad to play with you. Hey, I'm not very good at the game, but I've played Warzone, but I don't have that high of a level, you know." And you're like, "Yeah." And like he could understand, and then he can parry. Is like, "Hey, you're gonna guard these people." That's another thing. If there's four of you, I suggest you tell the streamer to pair on two. You know, and the way that you pair two is that it's one with the streamer and one the same level as the streamer or above the streamer guards the weakest one in order for them to actually be, you know, covered. Because this, if the streamer's paired with the weakest one, um, then it tends to frustrate him because it's like, even though you can be great at comms, but your level is hinder him his movement and his decisions, and he has to decide for the whole party. So if you're that low level, it's like, hey, I'm low level. I need someone at the same skill of the streamer above to actually, cover me, go on pairs, so that the streamer, when he's with his uh, partner, he he won't has to worry about his six so much, you know. And that's an actual way, you can move as a group, but in twos, in parallels, or in for them to actually, cover more ground as targets. Because if you move everyone together, that's another thing. Don't move too close to the streamer if you know you're being targeted. Move at a certain distance that is not far away, but also not so close. Um, that distance may vary because of height and because of openness. So, in that regard, it's like, please mind your distance between each other. Don't be too close. Don't be too far. And if you have, I don't know, if you're good at something, mention it to the streamer. So it's like, okay, let's say we got a sniper, we got a guy that is very good at CQB. It's like, oh, okay, then I can pair with you when we're going into buildings or houses. And if we got a sniper, it's like, oh, well, like you can stay a little bit behind in order for you to actually scope and ping, you know, enemy enemy squads. And another thing, transitioning towards that one, if you locate an enemy squad, first of all, indicate the streamer that, hey, squad over here, and you ping them if you have the ping system. Don't start shooting. Shoot when the streamer tells you is like to, or you see that they're far away and they're moving across. If you start shooting, you're indicating, hey, we're going for you, instead of, making you hide in order for us to move to another direction. If you're saying, let's say, in front of the building, you see they have a sniper and he sees, oh, on the rooftop um they're enemies, and my team is moving to that building, and I start sniping, they're gonna bunker down, and we won't be able to engage them. So tell the streamers like, hey, we got targets on the rooftop. Um, and you ping them, you don't engage in. Why? Because then you have alerted them. They're gonna still hear your footsteps as you're coming into the building and everything, but the decision of engaging or not, or leaving the building, it's relegated towards the squad leader, that is the streamer. And so please be mindful of that. Also, the loadouts that you have to carry, even though they're accustomed to you, always remain mindful of your first two loadouts. If you're going with streamers, within and everything, be mindful that they're gonna run mostly meta guns. So you had to go with the meta guns, with the meta perks, sometimes the meta equipment. Um, but if, for example, in my case of loadout, my for a hybrid thermal, um, I have it more so designed for my playstyle, but because my playstyle is are designed around squad that actually carries, I have a specific role to cover when I'm in the squad, and my M4 setup is set up for that role. So even though I'm paired either with Jeff, Espresso, Ace, J God, I have a specific role, and I tell them, hey, it's like, hey, I got this loadout, and it's specifically for this role in order for me to cover it. Have specific roles. I know it's not Battlefield and Call of Duty is like one man army and everything almost, uh, but have specific roles for each in the squad. And that's also with streamers. It's like streamers is like, oh, I'm gonna run ground with OTS. You know, it's like, oh, okay. Then he's gonna try to engage. His range is gonna be mid long down to CQB, and that's it. So what do you need? You need a sniper. You need someone that has the car, the HDR, the Tundra, the SPR. A sniper, a bolt action sniper or marksman in order for you to actually help at longer ranges. Um, or you can have a kit designed to go CQB mid range. You know, with the XM4 and the OTS or the Mac 10. You know, um, and always remember that they're going for two loadouts, one with the ghost and one with the overkill. They tend to go overkill first, and then they go with the second one that is the free one. They go for it as ghost. So your first two loadouts is like your overkill and your ghost. Or what you can do that it's more quicker is that you have your first one that has ghost, and then the second one that is another ghost, but it has the second primary that you want to have in an overkill class. Uh, hey, Brandis, Voy. I don't know. Remind me what VOI is, please. um, but yeah, have two ghosted classes. One with the primary, either assault rifle or sniper, and then the second one that you're gonna get with the free loadout with the streamers, uh, either your assault rifle CQB or your SMG. You can grab it, and you're already ghosted, and no heartbeat sensor, no UAV. Well, advanced UAV, but we gotta wait and see with the advanced UAV in Warzone Pacific if there's gonna be you know voice over internet. Ah, yeah, that one. Thank you, Brandis. Thank you. Um, adjust your volume of your mic. That's another thing. With it, communication. If you adjust the volume of your mic, that you don't sound either too low, either too high, or if you're watching the stream and you're playing, make sure it doesn't. The streamer doesn't hear his voice through your audio, because then it's like gonna create a loop and it's gonna create an echo and it's gonna be annoying. So before even you start a match or within the the pre lobby, adjust your mic volume in order for you to actually sound correctly. That you don't sound too loud, neither too low, but it doesn't create an echo. Um, because if it does, then every time you talk, it's gonna get annoying. And another thing is that please have your mic at a certain distance, because don't have don't have it too far from you that you have to crank it up when you're adjusting the audio. Then you have to crank it up, and when it goes close to you, you sound too high, and then you have to readjust it. Don't have it here. Don't have it here, because if you have it here, you sound like a perv. But yeah, please take note of that, because if you take note of that, the streamer is going to thank you, and he might invite you over again and he say, hey, I like playing with this guy. He may not be so good, but he has good comms. He has his mic at a good distance from his mouth. I can hear him clearly. There's no um, echoing. No, neither I hear myself through him. You know, be a pleasant fan for the streamer, for you to be invited, for him or her to actually have a good time with you. And you can become a favorite from the chat, because that's another thing. If you're going to be with a streamer, be sure that what you say is respectful, and don't be the clown of the class, like they put it. Don't be the clown of the class. Don't be an asshole when you're saying stuff. And always say stuff with respect. Don't disrespect anyone. It's like for example, how to put it. Let's say a 9-year-old is like, he has his mic all over his mouth, and is like, oh my god, I'm a fucking Jeff, fucking shit, I'm gonna. You're like, dude, out. Even before the lobby starts, you're out. He's gonna kick you out. It doesn't matter. Why? Because if the streamer allows those types of persons in his lobby, there's going to be an influx of fans wanting to play and behave like that, and they're promoting a certain behavior, uh, even though he's like in his mind inviting fans, and oh, I'm playing with fans and everything, but it's like saying that's acceptable to do in the game. That's not acceptable to do in the game. You know, we understand that in the game we're going to run into hackers or cheaters, and that's another thing. Please be mindful of the people that kill you, or certain people that you kill, that, hey, he locked on me on target. I'm gotta check the kill cam. And if there's no kill cam, even though you haven't pressed X, it's like, oh, he's like using a certain hacks in order for you to not identify him as a hacker, or a cheater. So you get the gamer tag, and it's like, oh, or the Activision ID actually. It's like, oh, he's cheating, he's hacking. Be be mindful of that when in the lobbies and playing against others with your stream, with their streamer. Sorry, I don't know why I can. Because it actually makes them notice. It's like, oh, then we're in a hacker lobby, or in this lobby there's hackers or cheaters. And one of the final things that I want to emphasize about is that if your streamer likes a certain character, you should wear this. You should use the same character as him. He's like, let's say, Alex Cedra. She uses obviously Mara in her lobbies. And if you're playing with her, even though you have your favorite operator, but for them to actually feel like a little bit more happy that you're a fan, it's like, if I'm playing with Alex Cedra, well, she actually uses Mara, then I should use Mara, a skin of Mara's. It can be the same one as she's using, but she's gonna appreciate it. And it's like, oh yeah, you're running Mara. It's like, yeah, we're like twins or something. Just like with Ghost, with Jeff Leach. He uses Ghost because he voice acted him, and you go into his lobby, and oh, I'm gonna wear my Ghost skin with him, because it's like, oh yeah, you're wearing Ghost. It's like, And even though if you don't run the skin that they like, the operator that they like, but it's actually a very good thing, you know, because they feel appreciated. They feel like, oh yeah, you like this operator. Like why? Like, oh well, I wear with you because like I can see where you like it, even though I like this other operator. It's like, oh, it's okay, but at least like a squad full of Rains, a squad full of Wyatts, Masons, Attlers, Woods, either the Modern Warfare or the Cold War one. Sorry, the Cold one. There you have it. Um, so yeah, mic. Adjust your mic, adjust the distance from the mic of your mouth, adjust the in-game volume. Don't sound too high, don't sound too low. Make sure it doesn't echo. Communicate enough, through pings, saying, "Hey, he's on my left," and you ping him, or have a general direction of where the. Oh, that's another thing. You gotta know the map in order for you to get a general direction. If you don't know how to ping, or you ping too slow, like, oh, I got shot. The shots came from around supermarket, and they're gonna be, oh, around supermarket. They're shooting us. Um, don't make suggestions. Don't go by yourself. If the streamer is saying, "Hey, let's move as a group," move as a group. Don't be too close to each other, because then you're fish and barrel. But either don't be so far away that you are not able to help either the streamer or your team. And these are tips that I can actually help you without you playing with streamers, because you know how to communicate and everything within your group of friends. So please be mindful of that, and actually be mindful of your level of skill, the loadout that you carry, and keep in mind that if you're playing with streamers, they tend to go with meta loadouts. So your first two loadouts have to be like meta guns, either the overkill class and then ghost, or each one has the guns that you want, but have them in ghost. First one ghost, second one ghost. You just grab them, and there you are. You're ready. So I hope you took notes. I hope this help this help you with going, with streamers, or doing your own set of stream, because you got to establish the rules. Also, as a streamer, it's like, I lead the pack. Please communicate. If I say we land here, we land here. Don't be too close to each other. Don't be too far apart. So it's sleeps playing with streamers and tips for streamers, actually, also. So if you like it, like, share, subscribe. Halo Infinite just released. Oh man, it finished downloading already. So I'm gonna take a test of that. Warzone is tomorrow. That it unleashes. I'm gonna make a video on it Monday. My thoughts on it, because weekend, I got the time with the weekend. And also, please, when you go into a streamers, be polite. That's the number one rule. Be polite. What you say, be polite and mindful. Don't be politically correct, but just when you know that you're going to say something sensitive, don't say it. It's like, hey, I had this, I want to say something, or just don't say it, because you don't know how the chat is going to react. So what you say about certain topics that that are like very muddy water, avoid them. Just, hey, did you know about this thing of the game, or have you played this, or have you heard of that? And if the streamer leads on to it, or if he asks you your thoughts, it's like, no, it's a very muddy topic. We can discuss it later. And the chat, not also the streamer, but the chat is going to, hey, play with this guy. He's very cool and everything. So yeah. Anyways, like, share, subscribe. Monday, 2 p.m. Central. Thoughts on the Pacific map of Warzone, because even though there's first impressions from the guys that are invited by Activision and everything to test it, and they're gonna have the first day either tomorrow or today is either tomorrow or Friday. They're gonna have their thoughts, and it's like, no, that's too soon. Let them have a few days, play it a few matches in order for you to have the feel, and then you have your thoughts on the map. So, anyways, yeah, 2 p.m. Central Monday, and like, share, subscribe. Take care of yourself and others. Well, others and your loved ones. But more so is like yourself, loved ones, others. Anyways, see ya.